All right, we are live. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Freedom Tech Weekend. My name is Marks. We're back for another week. Every Friday, we're here doing this. We talk about freedom technologies that are out there, typically open source software that you can run to, you really can play with this weekend to try and decouple your life from closed technologies. So this week, we are going to cover home media servers. We're going to talk about how do you stream your own music, videos, photos, whatever kind of media you want to consume in your personal life. You can stream it anywhere. You can set up something that behaves similar to Spotify, to Netflix, to Google Photos, that kind of stuff. So that's what we're going to chat about today. I'm going to do quick rounds of audio checks and stuff to make sure everything's going. Looks like we're streaming on the YouTubes. Yep, that's working good. And then make sure that we're live on zap.stream for all of our Nostr users. Let me go ahead and refresh here. And we'll let people have a few moments to hop into the chat. It's great. How's everybody feeling? Friday, if you follow Bitcoin, we hit a new all-time high this week. That was fun. Let's see, hit play over here. Not sure if Zap.stream is working, but we'll give it a go. Last week it failed on us. It was not working. But we keep trying. We keep pushing it. Okay, we got some people coming in now, not in Zap.stream, but in the regular ones. We're on YouTube. So we're available in multiple channels. We stream to TFTC, Truth for the Commoner, on YouTube and on X. And then we also stream to my own X, as well as we stream to hopefully Zap.stream if it's working. But it looks like it says I'm live, but I'm not getting any picture on Zap.stream. Not sure what's going on there. Cool, but we're getting up. We're almost 100 people already in the stream. Welcome everybody. Let me get the chat open so I can see that as well. Where'd it go? There we go. Right, sweet. So I should be seeing chats from people. I'll try and monitor it. I would love to get your input on this one. This one's going to be, we're going to go through an entire landscape of home media server apps. This is something that I have tinkered with and played with for, gosh, how long? Probably 2 decades now, trying to just stream my own videos and music to myself without having to pay subscription fees, without having to hand over all my media content to some other company and to entrust them with it. And I'm guessing a lot of you are similar. So let's take a look. Things continue to evolve and change, and there's always privacy implications along the way that you have to be aware of. So that's what we're going to take a look at today as well. So, hop in the chat. If you have any, I would love to know, like, what are you using if you do stream stuff from home? Let me know what you're using, which tools you use. We're going to look at things like Jellyfin. We're going to look at, we'll look at the old school heavy hitters like Kodi and Plex and talk about some of the trade-offs that you have to make there if you're going to use those ones. But then we're going to look at the more open source ones like Jellyfin, Subsonic. You've got Emby, I think is another one. Anyways, I've got a whole bunch of them opened on my home server that we're going to take a look at today. So welcome in. Welcome to Freedom Tech Weekend. If you're just joining us for the first time, I'll do a quick, brief explainer. This is Freedom Tech Weekend. My name is Marks. I'm a co-founder of a privacy and confidential AI called Maple AI. And it's similar to ChatGPT, but it protects your privacy. It's end-to-end encrypted. You can check it out at trymaple.ai. That's really the only way to support the show is just go sign up and try it out for free. And when you love it and find a lot of value out of it, you can upgrade to become a paid user. We use Maple here on the show to kind of help as we're researching things. But that's the biggest sales pitch you're going to get from me right there. That's what I do day in and day out. And on Friday mornings, or whatever time it is for you right now, on Fridays, I like to do this show. It's just free. And because I love freedom technology, I love playing with open source tools. I love trying to help people get control of their data rather than always having to just live within some kind of closed proprietary system. And so every week we show off one tool. Today we're going to kind of show off a landscape of tools, but we show off one tool. And then that weekend, when you have free time, you can play with it. And little by little, you can take more sovereignty and take control over your own data and your own infrastructure. We try to make these less, like not super heavy technical. We want them to be approachable, things that an average user, an average device user, computer user, whatever level of technology you're at, I hope that something is useful here that you feel like you can download and run. I mean, if you are capable of hopping on the stream and watching me or listening to the podcast later, then that's the level of effort, the level of technical knowledge that you hopefully need to do some of these tools that we show off. Okay, Zap.stream is not working, so I'm just going to close it. And if you are in the Zap.stream, it's working for you, awesome. Hope you enjoy the show. I'm not going to see your chats because it's just spinning for me. But thanks, Queen. I see you. Thanks for the emoji, the heart emoji. Okay, let's jump into it then. I wonder if I need to have the chat for X open because that's YouTube there. So let me hop in over there. And then I'm going to open up my home server and start sharing my screen. Okay, cool. Five by five. Okay. Let's start sharing the screen. Again, if you have a home media solution that you use right now that you love and you're willing to share which one it is, let me know. Put it in the chat. Okay, there we are. We are streaming my home server. I recommend everybody get a computer that you can. Oh, what's going on here, bro? Stop. You're in my way. There we go. Sweet. I recommend everybody get a home server. It doesn't have to be complex. You don't have to go out and buy like something that is rack mountable. Then you have to buy like a rack space, and you are upgrading the power in your wall and getting like a 10 gigabit fiber line into your house, like all that kind of stuff. You don't have to do that. Just get an old laptop or an old desktop computer, something that you had that's just sitting there not being used anymore, and update it to the latest version of the operating system that it can go. So you've plugged as many security vulnerabilities as you can. If it is really old and like the operating system is from years ago, you might have some vulnerabilities that can't be patched. So maybe look at, can you install something like Linux that can continue to be maintained? Figure that out. But then just plug it in on your home network. You don't even have to expose it to the internet if you don't want to. You can just have it be on your home network and be serving your intranet. That might be a term that is like old school, early 90s, and maybe you've never even heard before. You always hear the internet, but the intranet is basically the internet within your home. And so when you're on Wi-Fi at home and you're talking to the other computers in your house, you might just look at it all as one big internet. But really, when you are, if you're doing AirPlay and you're like flinging from your phone to the screen, or doing like Chromecast or something, ideally that's just staying on your local network. So your one device is talking to another device and doesn't have to leave your home network and go out somewhere to some other server and then come back into your home. So you could set up a home server that nobody from the outside world even knows exists, and you can put stuff on there, and then it can be a web server or be a media server or be any kind of server that you want to help out within your home, and your devices in your home can talk to it. If you've ever played Minecraft on, at home with other friends, and like on an iPad, maybe the four of you are sitting in a room on your iPads playing Minecraft together and joining a server together, like one iPad becomes a server and the other three join it, and you're all playing in the same world. And you can actually you can go into your router at home and like unplug the internet connection. And so now you just have Wi-Fi within your home without any internet, and you should still be able to all connect to each other's worlds on Minecraft, that kind of a thing. All right. There might be technical limitations to that now. Maybe they changed it. Sometimes the software has to phone home in order to work, but that's the concept I'm trying to convey. So get yourself a home server, just plug it in and start tinkering around with it. I think it's going to be a great place to try out some of these freedom tools and freedom tech tools that we talk about on Freedom Tech Weekend, week in, week out. Okay, but that's not exactly what we're talking about today. Today, we're talking about all the different media landscape options that are out there. So it all began with the Kodi project. I mean, there's probably got older than that, but really it began with Kodi. Kodi used to be something else called XBMC, Xbox Media Server. Give me a brief, short history of XBMC. Let's use one of our new models. We got Quinn here. Let's try out Quinn. So we're going to have Maple give us a quick. So Xbox Media Server, or Xbox Media Center, excuse me. It came about, wow, yeah, it has been over 20 years since I've been doing this kind of stuff. That's crazy. So people had their Xbox and they're like, this thing is sweet. It's plugged into my TV. It's plugged into my home projector, and I can play video games on it. But then people rooted it and started installing other software on it. So back in the early 2000s, there was this open source project where people built software, right? 2003, the first version of XBMC was released, focusing on transforming the Xbox into a powerful media server capable of playing various audio and video formats, displaying photos, and accessing the internet. This was also big for PlayStation 2, because PlayStation 2, for the first time, you could insert a DVD into it. And so then you could use that as a DVD player in your house. So you weren't only plugging in a console to play video games, but it could also be your DVD player for watching movies. And then Blu-ray came out, and then all these other things, right? There was this evolution that happened, but these are kind of the biggest roots for most people when you're looking at home media servers. XBMC later in, when was it, 2013, 2014, rebranded as Kodi to reflect its independence from the Xbox platform. This change also helped to avoid any legal issues and better represent the multi-platform nature of the software. So at this point, Kodi decided, Xbox really was growing. The Xbox Media Center was growing beyond just the Xbox. You could, they had apps for phones. They were on all sorts of different platforms. You could run the software on a different server. It didn't have to be an Xbox. It could be on just any computer. And then the other one that was really big back then was Boxy. I don't know if there's any Boxy users out there. I was a big Boxy user. I downloaded their software and installed it. And then I even bought their little server that they came out with. It was really cool. It was like this little boxy cube that was syncing into your desk. Let me pull up an image of it. It was pretty dope for its time, right? Here we go. Here's an image. I mean, tell me that doesn't look pretty sweet. I kind of wish it still existed today, but it was like you would set it next to your TV, and it was this cube that was like part of your media center console desk. It was pretty sweet. They unfortunately, as a business, did not make it. Boxy was a fork of XBMC, if I remember correctly. I'm just kind of glancing through here. And then they partnered with D-Link to make this the Boxy box, is what they called it. But then it became difficult because Roku, Apple TV, and Google TV, like these bigger players, just decided we're going to compete in this space and go hard. And it became very difficult for Boxy to continue to play. They eventually got bought out by Samsung, if I'm remembering correctly. Yeah. All right. Enough of the history lesson. They got out by bought out by Samsung. Wasn't a super great buyout for them. And they eventually went on to help build the internal software for the Samsung TV, because all these TVs come with things in them now, right? Okay. So Kodi is available. It's still open source. This is one to look at. If you want to get started somewhere, you can start with Kodi and take a look at it. I don't know a lot of the privacy implications with Kodi because I kind of moved beyond this into other things, but they've got the GitHub. You can check them out. They have all sorts of projects, but they're like the old one that most people started with. Then you had Plex. Plex was another XBMC kind of fork, and they've built more into a full-on business. I used Plex for many years, but then I finally gave up on it because eventually they basically started tracking what you were watching. And I got an email one day that was like, hey, based on your watch history, here's what we recommend you watch next. And I was like, okay, no, that's not going to fly with me. I don't want you tracking what I'm watching at home on my own home server and then storing it in your database and then emailing me about it and running it through some algorithm, probably sharing it with advertisers and third parties. So I deleted my Plex account and got out of there. It's possible they've changed their stance with that, but as far as like a full-on setup, Plex was pretty awesome. Like they have a really well-run operation from a usability standpoint. I just gave up on them from a privacy standpoint. There's another one that's kind of similar to Plex, and it's called Channels. Channels is similar, where you run an app on your home server, and then it serves up any of your local video content that you have, or music content. I believe it does music. Actually, I don't know if it does music. I think it's just video. Let's see. Explore personal media, stream while away. Yeah, it looks like it's mostly focused just on video. The cool thing about this is a lot of these have DVR stuff built into them, right? Plex does DVR. Kodi probably does. And for most people, like, DVR, I think, is an antiquated technology, digital video recorder. It is an evolution on top of the VCR, when we had tapes and we put them into the machine. And then when our favorite show came on, we hit record and recorded our favorite show when it was streaming from 8 p.m. to 8:30 p.m. And if we weren't going to be there, the coolest VCRs had like the timing function, so I could set up a timer to have it automatically record. So I was gone at something, and when I come home, my tape had recorded. It was always the worst when it didn't work for some reason, or the power went out and came back on, and your clock on your VCR reset and was blinking 12, and so it never recorded your show. That stuff kind of sucked, but for the most part, it was cool. Then DVRs came along, like TiVo, that would do it for you in like a computer box that was plugged in. In order to use something like Channels and Plex, you would buy a device, and they still sell these. These are HD Home Run is kind of one of the best ones out there. And this will plug into an antenna, grab the free channels that still stream. Believe it or not, there are still TV channels that stream in the air, and you can grab those. I don't really watch a lot of shows that are on those, but the times that I use it the most is for like sports. If there's some kind of local sports thing going on that I want to watch, and then I could use one of these to record it if I want to. HD Home Run, goes into all sorts of different software. They have their own stuff, so you can record with their own software, or it plugs into a lot of other tools. Tons of these open source tools. I use them. I haven't looked for sure which ones do, but it would surprise me if most of them don't. But this is great if you want to grab the local channels that are available to you wherever you are in the world. There should be TV channels streaming. This is also great for news, local news. I mean, we need to be available for emergencies, right? I'm not talking about like the mainstream media news. I'm talking about if there's a weather event going on, or some kind of local, important event happening. You might want to have the ability to watch that to get the latest information, especially if your internet goes down. That's another way to pick up information coming that's just freely going over the waves, the radio waves over your house. So these are things to look at if you want to. It's been a while. What are the privacy implications of the HD Home Run by Silicon Dust? Let's just see what we get there. I don't know how much of this is shared back. Silicon HD Home Run is an over-the-air TV tuner data collection. Silicon Dust collects some user data for operational purposes, such as device registration and firmware updates. Streaming data. When you use it to stream content, the device may collect information about the channels you watch and the duration you're viewing. The data is typically used to improve the service, network security. I don't think you have to have this thing phone home. Let's see. It operates on your local network, which means the content you stream transmitted within your home. Ensure that your home network is secure to prevent unauthorized access. You can set it up to do remote access, but yeah, so you could use an HD Home Run in a way that doesn't phone home, doesn't send data back to Silicon Dust. So if you want to kind of put safeguards around it, you can. So that's if you want that. The other cool thing, and we'll get to these other more open source options next. Really what I'm trying to do, and what I try to do with all this Freedom Tech, is I want to give options so people can kind of meet where they are in their life. If you are someone who streams Apple TV Plus, Spotify, you're streaming Netflix, YouTube TV every day, then for you, making a jump to like a totally open source thing that you have to download the code off GitHub and compile and run on some home server, that might be a really far gap for you. But maybe downloading an app from one of these companies and running it on your laptop and getting a little bit of that functionality that you would get elsewhere is a step in the right direction for you. It is not as private as compiling the code yourself, but it gets you going that direction. So that's why I show off these ones. And then we'll get to other options that are more open source when you want to continue to move down the line and get more freedom and more control over your data and privacy. Something else that's interesting about Plex, about channels, I don't know enough about Kodi, but it might, is something called TV Anywhere. Let's see, tell me about TV Anywhere and which, it would help if I spelled it correctly, and which home media servers support it. Okay, while it does that, TV Anywhere is something where if you have a cable TV subscription or a satellite subscription, believe it or not, those are still around. People still have them. If you have that, like let's say that you subscribe to ESPN, you subscribe to some kind of TV package so you can get ESPN for sports. That's a popular one that people do. Or like if you want Comedy Central, watch Rick and Morty something, or is that Cartoon Network? Sorry, whatever. If you're doing that, then you can actually plug in your subscription information into something like channels. I'm pretty sure you can do it to Plex, and Kodi is likely an option that it would do it. If you do that, then what you get is it can do DVR for all of the premium channels or all the cable channels that you have. So it's not just the free ones. It's not just the ones that come over the air like the basic networks, but you can do it with things like ESPN. So that's really cool because now you really are competing with YouTube TV. So instead of paying YouTube TV or what's the other big one? Fubo. There's a whole bunch of ones that you pay like high amounts every month. If you're also paying for a cable subscription or you know someone who is, then you can plug in your credentials and plug it into here, and now it becomes part of your flow. So I think that's really cool. You can do that kind of stuff. Let's see what it said here. It is available on Plex. Okay. Let's see. I'm just going to scroll. Sorry if I'm making you sick with my fast scrolling here. So Plex supports TV Anywhere under the Plex Pass. Emby has it. Emby supports remote access to your media library. That's not what I'm looking for. It misunderstood me. TV Anywhere, meaning the cable subscription channels become available to you, to your home server. Let's see what it says there. TV Anywhere is the context of cable subscription channels, blah, 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 blah. Okay, it seems to think that Plex, Emby, and Kodi all support it. So do your own research, but that is possible that it supports it there. It's also possible it's getting confused because I'm doing this in the same chat thread with all the history and context behind it, and so it's getting a little confused there. That happens with AI. All right, let's move on because we have been going for how long now? We've been going for 23 minutes. So thanks everybody for being in here. Appreciate it. We've got almost 1,000 people in the stream. What's up, everybody? Welcome. So let's move on now. So let's look at Jellyfin. Jellyfin is a really popular one. This is a free and open source one that you can download. And let's go look for their GitHub because I always love to do that. Where is it? Let's click on this. There we go. So you saw what I just did, right? I'm looking on the website for like a GitHub icon. I even searched for GitHub and didn't find it. A lot of times they'll be down at the bottom. There was no GitHub, but there is this little release thing, right? And this is shows, it pulls from GitHub and shows the latest version that's been built and released. So you can just click on that and that opens up the GitHub. So here is the release. They just pushed something live on April 5th. So Jellyfin is still in development. It is a GPL2 license and they're still actively working on it. It has a lot of contributors, over 1,200 contributors. Okay. Now, what does it support? So this lets you, what are the main features of Jellyfin? Let's get rid of that search box there. It lets you do movies, shows, music, live TV and DVR, books, photos, sync play. Sharing a movie night remotely has never been easier. So that's a big thing that a lot of these tools are doing. Plex does this. Apple does this with their share play feature, where basically like you and a friend sitting in different locations can watch the same movie and have a chat experience while you're watching it. So kind of what we're doing right now, where we're on stream together, right? But more interactive because it's two-way. Y'all can chat with me through this chat while I'm streaming myself to you. But this is like you pick a movie and watch it together remotely. Not as cool as watching it together. I'm all about getting together with people. But if you simply can't and you want to watch it, you could try that out. But it's cool to see more of them supporting it. Definitely look into the implications, the privacy implications. Where is that being streamed? Is that going through some Jellyfin server somewhere and then out to both of you? If that's the case, then you might want to consider where your data is going. But if it's simply just streaming from your own home server and you're finding a way to both link up, that's pretty cool. Okay, Queen wants me to tell Odell that she was a good girl. I'll have to pass that along. Okay. ABW, welcome. Thanks for joining. Play me on 2-speed. I'm much better on 2-speed. So do that and catch up. You might not get to us before the end, but that's all right. Welcome. So this is great. So if you have your own movies, these are things that in the United States, and the laws might vary wherever you are, but in the United States, you are legally allowed to make a backup of a movie that you buy. So a DVD, you are allowed to back up that DVD in case the DVD gets destroyed or the Blu-ray or something. You can have a copy and you can watch that yourself. You can't do a public play of that. I can't remember the exact term, but you can't play it for hundreds of people. That is known as like, a public event, and you have to pay money and pay licensing fees for that and stuff. So all of this should be couched within, this is media that you have the legal right to have on your home computer and stream to yourself. So let's just remember that. What you do beyond that is your own choice, and you don't have to tell me, and I'm not going to tell you what to do. Hello from the Netherlands. Welcome. Sweet. And what's up, BTC Pins? GM. Okay. So Jellyfin is a popular one. Another one is Emby. And you're going to see a lot of these have kind of the same features, right? So this is easy access, lets you stream from your live TV, manage your home. They've got apps. You basically download a piece of software, run it on a computer at home. Then you download the apps to your phone, to your computers, whatever. A lot of them have web apps as well. And then you enjoy your personal media. Which ones does Emby support? They don't show here, but I assume it's all the same things. So it looks like they got music here in the screenshot, and they've got photo albums here, and then obviously videos. So that is something maybe that we should chat. Let's park right here for a second. So what this means is you're going to download an app. It's as simple as that. You're going to download this app and you're going to install it on a computer that is always plugged in. Now you can start with just a laptop. If you're streaming me on a laptop right now, then you can start there if you want to. Or if you're streaming me on your phone, you probably have a laptop or a home computer somewhere. Download it there and just run it. And then grab even just film a video of you, just film outside for a second. Stick it on that server and put it in there. And now you have this little piece of software, this app that can take that video and make it available to your devices. And then you can download an app onto your phone, and then you can connect to that home server, to that app you're running on your laptop or your other computer. And then you can watch that video that you just filmed outside. You can watch that on your phone, streaming through the server, right? And that's like a great place to start. Just get familiar with that. But then you can start to take, other home videos or videos that you filmed that you really like all your favorite ones. If you hit heart on a video that you made or that you filmed and you want to save it forever, then start collecting a folder of these videos. And they don't have to live forever in iCloud or live forever in Google Photos or Amazon or anything like that. Pull your favorites out and stick them on your home server. They're yours, right? What if you lose access to your Google account one day? What if you lose access to your iCloud account? This isn't like conspiracy theorists or anything. This is I lost access to my Apple account just 2 weeks ago. I went to log in and they said, hey, we've noticed some weird security. Somebody tried to breach your account. Please reset your password. I was able to get it recovered within probably about 30 minutes, but that could take longer and maybe I don't get it recovered. So if you have things that you like love and care about, make a copy of them somewhere. This is a great place to just store your quote home videos. We used to have big camcorders where we would like film home videos, and they would fill up a tape of like 2 hours, and then you would all sit down, you put the tape in the VCR, and you would just watch home movies from clip to clip. And sometimes it was really boring, sometimes it was cool. This is like a totally modern version of that, but you are always curating the videos you make and you're hitting a heart on them to favorite them. Grab all your favorites, stick them into a folder, stick them on this home server, and make them available to yourself. That would be like that'd be my homework assignment for this weekend, or my challenge to people if you haven't done this at all. Okay, next one, Ampache. This is a server that focuses on music. So it's more of like your Spotify replacement or your Apple Music or your Tidal replacement. Now, music is interesting because most of us don't just make music, right? Like my previous example was you have videos that you filmed. So music is, you have to do the legal thing. So if you feel like you are legally allowed to have an audio file on your computer that you can stream, then these tools are for you. So a lot of music that you bought years ago is DRM free, digital rights management. If it's DRM free, you should legally be fine running in here. Technically, you can. You just throw it in there, and technically it will work. But make sure you button up all the legal stuff for yourself that you care about. If you don't care, you don't care. That's your prerogative. But let's say that you have a bunch of legally allowed music that you can play. Well, you can stick it in here and you can set up an entire music collection. You can have playlists, you can share playlists, you can stream. So you can have an app running on your phone. You can be at the gym, working out, listening to music that is streaming from your home computer. They also have features like the ability to download the music to your phone. So if you're going to be on an airplane, then you can have a playlist where you're like, hey, this is like my banger playlist. I love this. You just hit a button that says like, anytime a song is added to this playlist, download it to my phone offline. So when I'm on an airplane or wherever I am, I don't have to be dependent on my home server being connected or anything. I can just listen to this music. Those things are available to you. So Ampache is the server. They've got a GitHub here. And I keep talking about apps, but it's really important to remember that these also have web apps. You basically just go into a web browser on any device, whether it's a phone or a computer, and you can also access this. You don't have to use their apps if you don't want to. Okay. Next one would be Subsonic. This is another one that's similar to Ampache. This one looks like it's more of a business. Like they've got this premium offer where you can pay them $1 a month, upgrade to Subsonic Premium to enjoy extra features, right? They've got apps and stuff. Something about Subsonic, and I need to look into them more, but something about them is they have like an API that a lot of other open source apps have built to be compliant with. So a lot of other apps are compliant with the Subsonic API, which means that you don't actually have to pay money to this company, or you don't have to like share data with them at all. These other apps just all speak the same language as Subsonic. And so then this whole universe of tools is opened up to you, and other apps are opened up to you if they speak the Subsonic API. One of those is called Navidrome. This is another home media server that lets you serve up your own media, music, that kind of stuff. I mean, you can do all sorts of media files, music files, that kind of. I think it's mostly music, but yeah, different music formats. That's what I meant to say. Let's see. Amplify was one that we just looked at. So we are pretty much at time. We've hit 34 minutes. I try to keep these to around a half hour. I hope that I gave you a good view of the landscape of what is available to you. Again, my challenge to you is if you aren't doing any of these, then just pick one of these, look at what you think is within your technical abilities, and then your risk and privacy concerns are met, and download one of them and just try it out. And then put like one video or some song that you have, right? And stick it on there and start to play around with it. And give yourself the challenge of streaming one song or one video within your home. And then if you want to take the extra step this weekend, do it outside of your home. So leave the Wi-Fi of your home. You can even, if you have a cell phone, just turn off Wi-Fi on your cell phone and you can still be within your home technically, physically, I should say. But try streaming outside your home too and see what that's like. And then build from there. All right. I hope this was helpful. I'm going to stop sharing my screen here. Thanks everybody for joining Freedom Tech Weekend on this Friday. It is nice and beautiful sunny today here in Texas. That has not been the case the last couple of weeks. We had lots of downpour, torrential rain that caused flooding and tragic loss of life and property damage and stuff like that. So we've been doing efforts to clean up from that and help where we can. This week I've been really busy working. We've been releasing a lot of stuff for Maple AI. So check it out, trymaple.ai. You can go see what we've been doing over there. And then check in every Friday. We're here Fridays at 15:30 UTC. We give you one tool you can play with this weekend. And then if you want to follow me, I'm on X at marks_FTW. I'm also on Primal Noster, marks@primal.net. And Freedom Tech Weekend has its own X account now. You can go check it out. It's Freedom Tech Week. I couldn't do Freedom Tech Weekend because that was too long. Freedom Tech Week on X. You can subscribe over there and get updates and stuff. But all right, then I guess we will talk to you next weekend. Have a good weekend. Later.